and you know my name. You know racing cars is my favorite game, and you know I can't be beat when I'm in the driver's seat. See, I got a lead foot and gas in my veins. God put a V8 where he should have put brains. There ain't a race I haven't run. There ain't a race I haven't won. And it's been 7 days since I've won a race, and I don't plan on leaving this place till I've won another. Send you crying home to your mother. See, I got the car, the skill, the crew, the will. God hates a sinner, but he loves a winner. You dare to show your face? Come on, Ace. Let's race.
Hello again, everybody. This is Joe Larson. You're watching the 505 on Racing Show. Welcome. Those of you here on Long Island, and I guess in the Northeast, are getting whacked with this crazy weather that we're having this spring into summer. It's wreaking havoc with the race schedules all over the East Coast. Rainouts galore. In fact, the Whelen Modified Tour is headed to Stafford Motor Speedway this Friday for the third attempt at the tour race that's been rained out twice. And I'll tell you what, I know how rainouts affect me because I have to take off from work. I have to make a schedule. And so when I have, it's funny, these one-day shows still cost me 3 days because it's the day before you have to go, the day of the event, and the day after the event to get home. And it's not, it costs me money, and I'm just a working guy. I can only imagine what a promoter goes through when there's a rain out. They're sitting there, they're gritting their teeth. Do we go? Do we attempt? And when the forecast calls for, like a 95% chance of rain, nobody's going to come. You might have that 5% where the rain doesn't happen. So you gotta roll the dice. Now, they've prepared for that. They've purchased food, and they've gotten like the perishable items that I call it, the rolls for the hot dogs and the hamburgers, and they're ordered a day or two in advance. They come. It's not like you could call the bread guy, don't bring it. So you're paying for that, and then you don't have to show. And then you try to reschedule, it gets rained out again, and this is the case with Stafford. So being a race promoter, I'll tell you what, it's got to be a hard thing. Sometimes you think your problems are like really crazy until you think about, here's a guy or a family even that promotes a racetrack, and they race, whether they race Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday afternoon, Thursday night, whatever they race, Wednesdays, they start looking at that 5-day forecast and they're wondering, man, it's not looking good. And race fans, they're finicky as well, because a race fan's going to say, oh, it might rain. Let's not waste the money and go and sit in the rain. Or like in some cases, some racetracks, they have the rain out clause. If they get 3 races in, whether they're 3 heat races, 3 time trials, they'll rush to get those 3 races in so they don't have to, the rain's on the horizon. You can see the wall of rain coming, and they'll rush. All right, we got 3 races. Let's shorten this race, and we got to get done. So they don't have to give out rain checks. So, like I said, your own problems seem a little small when you think about a promoter and the money that they lose. I mean, I only lost a few $100 each time that the Stafford race was canceled due to the weather. And I'm sure that they probably lost that 10 times over. So, it's just tough. Now, thank goodness looking into this weekend, the advance forecast, it looks good for Friday up in Stafford Springs, Connecticut. And I'm looking forward to going and doing this event. And just spending some time up in sunshiny Stafford Springs, Connecticut. One of my favorite racetracks. I think I've said that before. It's one of my favorites. For a multitude of reasons. A, they put on a good show there. There's no nonsense. They go racing, they get it done. They start their qualifying at 6 o'clock. The feature's at 7. You're in your car at 9:15. At least the few times that I've gone up there just for their regular weekly show. And the other reason I like that place so much is because the owners and the promoters, they treat me with, let me rephrase it. They treat me very well. And I guess that's a two-way street. So I treat them very well too, I guess. But I've known the Root family for a number of years. Maybe not as long as most, but I've known them probably a good 12, 13 years. And yes, this week's tour race is scheduled for 9:15, give or take. And that's just if things are going not well, which sometimes happens with the races prior to the Whelen Modified Tour event, sometimes that might go a little later. Or if things are going very well, we might even start earlier. But a tour race, it's a big thing up there. And it's a good thing is they don't give their regular divisions off per se to run the tour race, which is one of those things. I still can't fathom why racetracks give divisions off. I just don't understand that. And as a racer, whether as I am an owner or a driver or a crew member, you work on your cars to race them. You don't build them and spend all this money on race cars and get sponsors so that you race like every other week, or you have 3 weeks off or 2 weeks off. And I know I've said this years ago. When I first started racing, Saturday morning came. I didn't look at a schedule. I just showed up. I loaded my race car or my friend's race car or whatever, and we went to the racetrack and we raced. We don't look at a schedule. The only thing we looked at the schedule for, which looking back, is what else was going to be there with the normal stuff. Back in the old ISLIP days, the midgets could have been there, late models could have been there, or they might have brought what they called the bombers out from Freeport and Riverhead Raceway back then. So it'd be like maybe 4 events. It was modifieds, figure eights, and then they had for a while they had the ladies division, which became the novice division, and then there was always something else. Sometimes it was the circus act, as they call it, dog and pony shows type of things, the thrill shows, demolition day, but there was always something. But we didn't look at a schedule, and I think that's what's hurting. How do you say this without making somebody upset? Sometimes promoters, they look at their field of divisions, race divisions, whether they have late models and modifieds or pro stocks, whatever they have, they look at it. And that comes with a cost. And that cost is you got to pay a purse, you got to pay, sanctioning fees, you got to pay point fund fees. And every track that's in NASCAR pays point fund fees to NASCAR. On Monday morning, when they get to the office, whoever's responsible for that sends a check. Now, what that check is for is a percentage of the purse paid out goes to NASCAR, so that at the end of the year, you get that check from NASCAR, the point fund check. NASCAR doesn't sit back and say, well, we made $72 billion this year. Let's send every driver a point fund check. The promoters are paying that. And a lot of people don't know that. And it's part of the sanctioning agreement that if you're going to sanction a NASCAR event, if you're going to be a NASCAR Weekly All-American Series racetrack, there's certain rules that you have to follow as set forth by NASCAR. And one of those things is you pay a sanctioning fee now, and I don't know what that is because I believe it varies track to track, but the point fund payout for NASCAR divisions, because there are racetracks that have divisions that aren't considered NASCAR, it's a percentage, and I believe it's 5%. I'm thinking for some reason that's in my head, 5% of the purse. So in other words, if the purse is $10,000, let's say, $500 for that division is sent to NASCAR. And if you have 20 events, do the math. And then in the NASCAR rulebook, it spells out the breakdown, the top 20 drivers in the weekly series and in the touring series, and in the top level series as well. The top 20 are paid a percentage of the point funds monies paid by the promoters for the purse paid. First place is 20%. 20% of the total point fund money goes to the champion. With the lowest payout, the 20th place race team gets 2%. It's in your NASCAR rulebook. It's one of those things that you're going through. You don't read. In fact, some people, you look at their rulebook, the binding's it's not broken because it's never been opened. So look at that. Take a look at it, because that's what you're entitled to. So when you look at a schedule where you're not racing every week. And I'm talking, May, June, July, August, September, October, 6 months, let's say, you could race, because some are April, so we're not going to, they start in the middle of April, sometimes they end the end of September. So let's just do May, June, July, August, September, 5 months, 20 weeks. Let's say the purse is $2,000. I know it's on some divisions less, some it's more. 2,000 divided by, multiplied by 20, that you're talking, $40,000. So as a point fund, 20% of $40,000, it's not a lot of money, but so if 10% is for that, that's $8,000. Now if you only raise 10 races, that cuts in half. Get a couple of rainouts, the point fund check isn't as good. So I don't know. Sometimes I look up at the chat room sometimes. I wonder what world some people are living in. Anyway, one of those days today. But when you, again, you look at that point fund check. Some racetracks have point funds based on money they get from vendors. When they say vendors, gas, fuel vendors, tire vendors, this vendor, that vendor. Sometimes some racetracks in there at 100% of let's say a tire manufacturer. That tire manufacturer gives, and I don't want to use the word kickback, but that's what it kind of is. If you got every division on this tire, we'll pay you X, Y, Z. Some promoters share that with the drivers, some don't. Some keep it for themselves, and you know what? That's their business. And I'll tell you what. If I was a promoter, and we had this talk, we've had this talk, not here on the show, but with people in my circle, and we've had this talk about, what we would do. And I used to kind of joke around. I used to joke around about building a racetrack, the racetrack in the sky type of thing. And but as some of you may know out there, I was very involved in trying to build 2 racetracks here on Long Island, and it wasn't easy. But we sat down. We had meetings with the principals, let's say, people that were spending the money, because it wasn't my money. The Lord knows I don't have any. Only people think I do, but I don't. But when we sat down with the powers to be, and my deal, I had a real good deal with both the facilities if it would have went through, and I'm not going to get into the particulars about that because that's really nobody's business, But if they would have been built, those racetracks would have been built, there were things that we needed to do, and I'll tell you what, a lot of people don't like Ben Dodge up there, like this up in Thompson, whatever. A lot of people don't like him and don't agree with him, but I can tell you what, I remember going to Riverside Park, getting there a little way early. This guy comes out and says, "What are you guys doing?" "We're here to race." What time is it? What time is the pits? "Oh, they don't open for another couple hours, but I'll let you sign in now." So you reach into your pocket, you get your money, because that's what you do when you go to the sign window. You goes, "Put your money away." "Well, yeah, because at my racetracks, the drivers and the car owner don't pay." How novel. Because I know the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus, when the clowns perform, they're not paying. The Lion Tamer, he's not paying. The High Wire trapeze people, they're not paying. They're putting on the show. They shouldn't pay. And that's something, I'll tell you what, if I ever hang up my NASCAR hat, which may be sooner than some people think, if I ever hang up my NASCAR hat, I'm going to be a driver's representative. And I kind of do that now with sponsorship stuff, but I mean, there's things, it's funny, and really it's not funny, but I look at some of these drivers and their whole entire life is in their race car. Their whole life. Some guys, they got to work overtime so they don't, dig into the household funds. I knew a guy years ago, Bobby Law, guy raced figure eights with, great guy, nice family. I knew his dad and his mom. But this guy had a regular job. He had a suit and tie job, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. He went home, and from 6 to midnight, he pumped gas. And Bobby Fine, a PR guy here in Long Island, he could verify this. This guy pumped gas because he wanted to race late models. That's what he did, you know. Oh, thank you. So he's saying I'd be good at being a driver's job. You know, it's kind of funny because even when I became the chief, and you know, so many brothers in my time, so I shouldn't talk about the old days, but when I became chief steward here in Long Island, one of the things I wanted to do is I wanted to treat the race teams the way I would have wanted to be treated when I was a race team. And you know, and yeah, people know me. You know, yeah, did I get crazy sometimes? Absolutely. Did I get in people's faces? Absolutely. Did most of the drivers hate my guts? They sure did. You know, there was a couple that one threatened to blow up my house, another one threatened to shoot me in the head. You know, when I was leaving. You know, and I'm not making this up. This is real stuff. But I tried to be fair to everybody. If I made a call on the one car, the 90 car got the same call and the same penalty or the same punishment in some cases. You know, if in April or May you suspend driver A for doing X, and then the same thing happens in August, and you don't suspend with a different driver, you don't suspend him, you got a problem. So you got to be consistent, and consistency is key. And not only in racing, and in all walks of life, you got to be consistent, and you got to do what you promise. So when you don't do those things, when you don't do those things, you know, you lose credibility. So here we are. It's my first day in the seat for opening day. It's my show. And I don't know what happened. I don't know what transpired, but we went from 90 cars the previous season to 150 cars on opening night. The tire distributor comes into me and says, Joe, what do you want to do? I got to limit the tires. People are buying 8 and 10. I don't have that many. I says, you didn't bring that many or you don't have that many? Because I didn't bring that many. So I said, so in other words, back in Huntington where your warehouse is, you have tires. He says, yes. I said, now I suggest you get somebody that's either out there, here, or somebody here, out there to go get them and come back. Because what are you going to do? Go to the guys that bought 10 and 12 and say, oh, you got to sell 4 back? That ain't going to happen. So that was my first, I was like, so now I have drivers coming into my office screaming at me that they're ready to buy tires and they can't buy any because they're out of tires. The distributor don't have any. Now the communication didn't get back to these guys and gals that they were on their way with more, and they were on their way with more. So what I had to do is I had to start the show a half hour later because I had to ensure that the guys and gals that didn't get tires got to practice. Give me a little credibility with the race teams right from the get-go. Because I did what I promised. I said I was going to do that. And I was going to get them tires, and I was going to get them their practice session. They weren't going to be burned out of practice. But looking back on that, I often wondered if that was an attempt to make me look bad or an attempt to see how I'm going to handle that. And I think we handled it pretty good. And the same thing with a certain parts distributor many years ago. I'm not going to say who he is or she is because it doesn't matter. You know, there was some stuff going on, and I could never understand why in the middle of a season, it's late July, you've been racing for 2 months already, 3 months even, and you have a rule change. Now, I'm all for a rule change for safety. When you roll into the pit gate, we decided right now this is what we got to change for safety. I'm all for it. I got hurt in a race car, so I wish there were certain things that were done different back then, but they weren't. You can't go backwards. But a rule change that you can't justify. It's not like, and I'll take for instance, I'll share a story with you. It's late July, early August. You roll into the pit gate with your truck and trailer and race car and tow and your cooler and all the stuff that you bring to a racetrack. And you handed a rules addendum by the guy at the gate. The guy goes, Yeah, we got a rule change here, sir. Just look it over and make it happen. So, like, you know, you're in a rush. You want to get in your pit stop. You think, yeah, thanks. And you throw it on the passenger seat and you go to your pit stop. Well, so I better look at that. So you unload your car, you go and look, and it says, effective tonight. And I'll tell you what, this really happened. And I'm sure TK Tommy Kraft is watching, and he was around then, and he can verify this. I know he doesn't go in the chat room. Effective tonight in this division, and it was a figure eight class, because the figure eights had V8 motors and six-cylinder motors running at the time. And the V8s were kicking butt, there's no question. So they decided, effective that night, I know I repeated myself, that the V8s can no longer have the little tiny clutches, the multi-disc, the double disc, the triple disc. They can't have those anymore. They have to go with a stock clutch, pressure plate, flywheel, and it must weigh 32.5 pounds with the nuts and bolts. I'm like, first of all, I just put that clutch in. I had a race on it. It was $600, $700, or $800. I don't remember exactly. But I just put it in the car. So I go over to the head guy. I was listening. We have a problem. What's the matter? I said, this rule change. It's effective today. Yeah. I said, I just bought this clutch. Am I supposed to throw it away? Well, maybe you could sell it to somebody. It's a used clutch. I'll be lucky to get $200. Are you kidding? We're going back and forth. Well, you can't change it tonight? No, we're going to go down to the parts store and buy a stock clutch press plate flywheel. It's 4 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon. They're closed. Well, you got to add 200 pounds then tonight. Now, where am I going to find 200 pounds? Well, he found it for me. So I put the 200 on a race. You know, I had an average finish, you know, like 19th for me, you know. And we go back to my shop during the week, and we're sitting there. And we're like, this is crazy. Give me that rule thing again. Let me read this rule. I'm like, holy crap. What? No, it says all cars must have a stock clutch pressure plate flywheel. So, you know, some of you know, I studied law. You know, and my specialty was contractual law. So I'm looking at this thing. I said, I got him. So Roger Maynor, we all know Roger Maynor. He's the winningest race car driver on Long Island. Had a stock clutch press plate flywheel that he wasn't using. It wasn't the best. I go over to his house, pick it up, go back. I mean, one of my guys, my crew guys, sitting there, he goes, what are you going to do with that? You going to throw away the new clutch? No. Look at that rule. Read that rule. Tell me what that rule says. It says you got to have a stock clutch. I got one. So, behind, actually, in front of the firewall on the driver's side, I had a 25-pound weight. I took it off. I put the stock clutch press plate flywheel in its place. The headers ran past it in the exhaust, so it would get hot during the race. Because the rule said I had to have one. The rule didn't say it had to be functioning. So I go on a race. I finished like 12th, 13th the following weekend. And I get stopped on, and anybody who's been on to Riverhead, you come off at turn 3 and you make a hard right by the handicapper shack, and the officials officiate from up there, and I get stopped and I'm told to go to tech. I start laughing. I said, what, the scores mess up again? I'm in the top 3? Just go to tech. Oh, yeah, I go to tech. They didn't appreciate my humor. Most people don't. I go to tech. I'm sitting there. All right, what do you want? We want the clutch. Oh, you got it. So I go through the motion. I don't, because I don't know what I'm doing. But my crew goes through the motion that they're taking the real clutch out. And as they're down there, they unbolt the one from the chassis rail. Now it's hot because the headers were going past it, the exhaust and stuff. So they have gloves and towels, all kinds of crap. So they take it out and they hand it to them, and they look at it, and it's hot. And I'm like, oh, man, we still thought you had that little clutch. All right, you're good. The rule said you had to have one. I had one. You know, just like Andrew Beyond the Lillo, and I'll say this because I don't know if he remembers. When I was, the head guy, he was helping his brother, the late Joe Biallo Jr., and he turned all the wrenches on that car, and we had a little question about a rule, interpretation. So we go back and forth, and I says, hey, the rule says factory stock. That's not factory stock. And takes the rule book out of my hand. He's looking. I don't know, factory stock, yeah. He goes, well, Joe, I got a surprise for you. I said, well, what do you got? He goes, this part was made in the factory. And when I called the distributor, he had it in stock, so that made it factory stock. The guy got me. He got me. He beat me at my own game. It's kind of fun, you know? And yeah, it's like the gray area. See, the gray area in racing is sometimes it's dark gray, sometimes it's light gray, sometimes it's, you know, like navy gray. But that's where, how do I put it? I used to tell people, you know, and every official, every promoter, everybody, they have their favorites, but you can't, you can't show favoritism. You can't give them what's black and you can't give them what's white, but you could give them what's gray. The stuff that's interpretation, you know. And you go from there, you know. Yes, battleship gray, thanks. Yeah, I called it navy gray. It's like navy blue, you know, but it's gray. But yeah, you know, those are the things. I remember the late Jack Scott, you know, I blew a call on him. Dan Giovanelli was driving the modified, and I blew it. I just saw it wrong. I was misinformed, the whole bit. I took the heat when he came into the office that night to complain about it. Now, you got to imagine now, Jack Scott was the ultimate gentleman. Retired, you know, cop, but he was the ultimate gentleman. And Dan Giovanelli, he's a competitor just like me. He just felt he got screwed, and he did. And he's screaming and yelling, and I just sit back like this. I said, you done? Yeah, well, what do you got to say about it? I said, I screwed up. But, and what? You what? I said, I screwed up. All right, so now what can we do about it? And I said, I owe you a gray one down the road. Well, one night there was a little thing that went on in the racetrack, and his car, Jackson, he was running up the ramp, and he says, I'm cashing in that one you owe me. I said, you got it. Things you got to do, you know? And it's I don't know. It's, you know, the good old days. Yeah, what do they got here? They're talking about, who's this? I don't even know who this person is. Oh, Vinzo. Hey, Vinny, yeah, how you doing? Like the InRavio logo was like right in the line of view here, so I gotta wait till things scroll up. But yeah, Vin, it's, you know, when you have these questionable calls, you know, and I remember that incident, you know, and it had to weigh that amount, you know, and WJ, I agree with you. There's another place to put that. 32.5 pounds, my friend, that's right, and that included the nuts and bolts. Clutch, press, and the other thing I had too, and I had this aluminum flywheel. Now, my dad owned a grinding shop. He ground tools. He was a tool grinder. He was a tool maker. And I had barrels of grinding dust. And if you put enough grinding dust in your paint, and what I did, we painted my flywheel, a magnet will stick to it. So there we go, I pull it again. And those of you thinking, would I cheat? I wasn't cheating. The rule said it had to be magnetic steel, and when I stuck a magnet to it, it stuck. When I stuck a magnet to my aluminum flywheel, it stuck because I grind the dust in the paint. Don't try it, because I'll catch you. That's why NASCAR made me a tech guy. That's why when I left the tower, as race director, they made me a tech guy, you know, years back under Mr. Ed Cox, and one of the finest Southern gentlemen you'll ever meet. And then, you know, what happens at any time there's a new regime, the new regime brings in their people, and all of a sudden they don't know what you do, but that's a whole other story. It's in one of my books. But you know, no, I use like a primer color on it, because I needed, you know how flywheels look, and only the teeth are shiny. You know, the flywheel looks all greasy and grimy, so I used a primer color. You know, I used to stay up late at night thinking of these things, you know. But it never helped me, obviously, because like, I think my best finish in the points, I think, was like 16th, you know, and there was many years I wasn't in the top 20. I didn't get a point for Chuck, but I had a good time, and I met a lot of good people. Some of them I'm still friends with today, and that's the good thing about racing. and any sport, football, soccer, hockey, whatever you play, whatever, fishing, hunting, you make relationships that last a lifetime. And sometimes you don't understand, and not, before I take a break, I want to, sometimes you don't even remember when you met a person, like WJ. I don't remember the first time I met that man, myracenews.com. I don't remember. I'm sure he does, but I don't remember that. It's like he was always there, always walking around, a little notebook, a cigarette hanging out, this hat, earring. That was the first thing I noticed about WJ. I do remember that wow, the guy's an earring. But anyway, when you meet people, I just had a conversation with somebody not too long ago on a racetrack, and we were talking about, he introduced me to somebody as his friend. Now, I'm saying to myself, yo, dude, we're not friends, man. But I don't come out and say that. But a lot of people use that term very loosely, friends. But he introduced me as a friend. And you know what? As a race person, yeah, he's a racing friend. Like, if my house caught fire and I need somebody to live, I don't think I'd call him. But at the racetrack, he was my friend. And all throughout the race season, if I stopped near his trailer, they had the grill going and get a burger and a beer, whatever. And vice versa, when I had my stuff going on, my food, display, because we ate a little different, But the season would end, and you didn't hear from this guy. You don't go to their house, you don't break bread in their house, you're not invited over for New Year's. But now opening day comes, and boom, you're friends again. They're race friends. Again, I wouldn't call the guy if I needed a favor. Maybe I should start cashing in some of my favors, because I got a lot of favors coming out there. But anyway, that's a whole other, I could talk for probably a whole day on that stuff. But when you look back on this, you look back and you're like, wow. So, the relationships, there's people that I've known for 40 years in this sport. I've watched them, I've watched them grow. I've watched them get married. I've watched them have kids. I've watched their kids have kids, and and some third generation people out there, and you look back and you're like, wow, I can remember. I just ran into Kenny Hyde Jr. in a restaurant not too long ago, second generation figure eight driver, and I remember when he was born. That's a long time ago. Anyway, we're going to take a break. We come back. We'll talk about this weekend racing and some of the stuff that goes on and some of the stuff that don't go on. We'll be back.
YouNeedAPart.com. Fast and free, the internet's top used parts locator service. Over 3 million part searches since 2001. Salvage yards, sell more parts. Become a member today. YouNeedAPart.com. Tell them you heard it on Enravio.com.
Hey, this is Joe Larson from the 5 Off 5 On Racing Show, and you are watching Enravio.com, broadcasting to the world.
Enravio. Enravio.com. Internet, radio, TV. Enravio.com. Broadcasting to 6.8 billion people. Streaming 24/7. Enravio.com.
This is not your daddy's radio. Well, unless he's cool. Enravio.com, broadcasting to the world. We're back. Now, let's see, WJ. I think I missed something now. I got to, you walk into the middle of a conversation sometimes, and it's just, when it says, why would I ever sponsor a lap again? When the announcer omits my name from the sponsors. Whoa. I'll tell you what, WJ, I'll tell you what. And I'm glad you said that, because you know, and don't get me wrong, the guy he works hard and he does a lot of stuff and he wears a lot of hats. But, you know, when I go to the social networks and the social media and, you know, where he works, he runs into a lot of people. A lot of former racers, a lot of guys that wish they could be racing, a lot of fence grabbers. And if anybody needs to know what a fence grabber is, just ask me. But I'll see he'll put in there, Gagos Parzano stopped in today. Well, hey, Joe Mariachi, Vinny Boomba, all these guys stop in and see him, and that are racers, former racers, you know, officials that, you know, work other places. And I'm reading this one, and I'm like, you know what, it just, you know, I was having a bad day. Because I have bad days, believe it or not. I was having a bad day, and I said, you know what, I wrote on it, I stopped in on Tuesday, you didn't put me in there. I'm a Touring Series official. I've worked every series, Cup, Nationwide, Truck, K&M Pro Series, East, West, Modifieds, North and South, Canada and Mexico. And I don't even get them. I went nuts on. I went nuts, you know. But I guess you can't upset the little circle at the racetrack of higher-ups that don't have any respect for me, because when you rat them out for cheating, you know, and complaining and all that other nonsense, you know, they don't want me. You know, it's, you know, and don't get me wrong. You can get me wrong. You can think whatever you want to think, but you know, but you're right. He needs to do his job. You got to take that personal stuff out of it, you know, and you know, it's like for years on and I'll say it, the Eye on Riverhead for years, if it was something involving my race car, my sponsors, or me, it got omitted. And I used to send it to him. I used to send, hey, you know, we just signed this sponsor, blah, blah, blah. And I'd look at it like, come on, I tell the sponsor, hey, you know, I said, because the sponsor likes to see that stuff. And it wouldn't show up. And well, I put it in, but when it went into the owners took it out. You can't do that. Just like with the MyRaceNews.com, if he sponsors a lap, he's got to say his name. He's got to say his name. And the guy who's collecting the money for those laps, that's the guy that needs to go up to the announcer's booth and scream and yell, yo, MyRaceNews.com, they had lap number 37. They needed to be announced. Now you need to say it. Oh, we admitted. You know, even though the race might be over, and even though they just announced everything, that announcer needs to say, we omitted Walter Johnston, MyRaceNews.com, lap 37, and we're sorry. All right, that's what you should do, okay? That's what you should do. It's just the politics, and it's not just here in Long Island. Please don't think I'm just bashing this place, because somebody said that to me a couple of weeks ago. Hey, man, you're bashing them. I'm not bashing them. The truth hurts. If you think I'm bashing you, then so be it. Then go hide in your closet. But the truth is that they're not fair to people, and it's not just here in Long Island. It's every short track in the country. If they don't like you, you're out to lunch, and it's even at the higher levels. Think about some of the, and I'm not going to throw the names out there, but I will. Chris Bowles. Chris Bowles was the man who promoted me in NASCAR, and this guy knew his stuff. Where's he today? See, NASCAR got rid of him. It's almost like he's in the witness protection program for NASCAR. You know, you got to be out. You're gone. You know, you got to be on. And you know, Don Hawk, who was replaced by Richard Buck a couple years back. Don Hawk, for those who don't know, Don Hawk was the man who convinced Dale Earnhardt Sr., the late, great Dale Earnhardt Sr., to stop making die-casts and collectibles. I know that for a fact. This Don Hawk was the marketing genius behind DEI. Plain and simple. The guy knew his stuff, but NASCAR didn't. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't a perfect little wooden soldier. He didn't just march, do what he was told to do. He did what he thought was right. And you know, and that's just not that. That's corporate America. You got to be a perfect soldier, and you got to blink when they say blink. And if you got an itch, and they didn't tell you could scratch it, you don't scratch it until they tell you can. Okay, and that's my take on things. And I don't want to say upset. I do get upset. I get upset over some of the nonsense like that, you know, and like I said, I've been going to this Long Island racetrack
My first went there was 1973. There's guys in this chat room that weren't even friggin' born yet, and I was going to that racetrack. I was going to that racetrack before the current management bought it. All right, I've probably seen more races than they've seen laps in my lifetime. So, you know, when a guy moves up, comes up from the back of the pack, from as a figure eight guy, I was a back of the pack to the middle at best. Yeah, did I have I had my good runs, don't get me wrong. You know, I started on the pole. How could you not have a good run? You know, because with the handicapping, the guy with the lowest money earned started on the pole. I should have got the track pole award that year. I started on front one so many times back in the mid-90s. But anyway, you know, I guess whatever. So, but these are the things, you know, you can't kick people to the curb all the time. You just can't. You gotta, in this racing business, everybody contributes a little something, Everybody contributes a little something, and when you have a guy or a gal who, for whatever reason, parted ways with a racetrack, utilize it. So, you know, and I'm not saying I'm the best official that ever came, far from it, but I know my stuff. And my local hometown racetrack is the only racetrack in North America that charges me to get in, which is a direct violation of the sanction agreement. We'll deal with that one day. Maybe I'll just wait long enough where I could just do a class, not a class, but a suit where I'll collect like 20 years worth of pit fees. And because they violate the sanction agreement. And the control room was like, they're just shaking their head. They're ready to like get the hook. Joe, take a chill from it. You're going out there. Because I am going out there. But send them a bill. I should, right? Why didn't I send them a bill? They'd laugh, you know. But even, you know, Kevin Basic, Long Island Need for Speed, Thursday nights, Channel 115, Woodbury Cable. You know, if it was on Monday nights, I wouldn't tell you about it, but it's Thursday, so you can watch. But anyway, here's another guy. He has videos of his local home track in the NASCAR Hall of Fame in Charlotte, North Carolina, and they don't treat him good either, because he tells it like it is. You know, it's like the old trackside. They used to show some of the stuff that went on in the calls that weren't made. You know. And the guy, I thought you'd like that, Kevin. But like I said, here's a guy. He's up there video and they didn't want to hear it because he tells it like it is. They don't want that. They don't want that at all. You know, but it's one of those things. Anyway, Pocono. I put the race on. I caught like the last maybe 20 laps, and. You know, scrolling through the channels, I forgot what channel it was on, and I'm scrolling through, and in fact, no, where was I? Oh yeah, I was out having a couple of cold ones, my buddies up there around the golf. I thought the race was over because there was nobody in the stands. It was empty. The place was empty. It was like watching like qualifying. That's how many people in the stands. Why is it empty? Why? You know, here's a racetrack, although it's kind of in the middle of nowhere, but you have the New York metropolitan area less than 2 hours from the place. Billions of people in a 150-mile, 200-mile radius. The place shouldn't be empty. It shouldn't be empty. Now, I don't know what it costs to get into this race, and I don't know what hotels were, and I know sometimes traffic could be a little horrible, but what the heck? The place was empty. And, you know, and I think Jimmy Johnson still pocketed $244,000 for the win. Where did this money come from? It didn't come from the people buying tickets, that's for sure. Somebody lost their shirt if they were based on ticket sales. You know, I don't understand this. Week at Dover was empty. I'm thinking what they need to do is get those balloon people that a guy I knew that was in one of the Rocky movies as an extra, and he was surrounded by balloon people, so the grandstands look full. I think they need to do that. Don't put banners over the seats. I know they make money selling the advertised space, but what they need to do, I mean, gosh, stop. They make it look like, I think it's Charlotte. The seats are painted all these multicolors because it looks like there's people in them.
And you're right. Nobody can afford some of the exorbitant fees that these racetracks, are charging. It's, yeah, Michael, my buddy down in Jersey, Walmart sponsored the party in the Poconos. I mean, they couldn't do better. Come on, And I'm really thinking, and you would probably never think I would ever say something like this. Pocono needs to have one race, not two. One race. Because they need to create a demand. They need to create, and that's simple marketing, man. Supply and demand. You gotta be a one creator. You gotta, holy crap, I can't go to boat races. Oh, I gotta go. You gotta be a want creator. A good marketing person is a want creator, not a need fulfiller. Anybody can fulfill a need, but you gotta be a want creator. That's like a good car salesman. He's gonna convince you, or she's gonna convince you, you need to pay $500 a month for a car. I know you only wanted to pay $250, but you know what? For $500, you're get a much better car. You'll be happy. I can't let you walk out of here unhappy. And they enhance your self-esteem, and they make you feel good, and all of a sudden you sign up, and then you get that first bill. You're like, what was I thinking? It's I don't know. No, I don't know. My race, they treated me. I can't believe it, because of 10 years, and another guy. I haven't renewed any of my seats in the last couple of years, and part of it's economics. I'm not going to lie. But you know what? The only place that I miss going to is Martinsville, and that's because the hotel I've stayed at for forever. The guy calls me up personally, and actually will say, "What room do you want to be in?" As I'm on my way, because I drive a lot of times to these places, because I don't know why. It costs the same whether you fly or drive anyway, because you got to, whatever. So he'll call me the night before. You come in, yeah, I'm still. All right, what time do you think you're going to be in? And you got that right. You got that. Ira Bromley was the man who got me that room. Wow, Harry, man, you just made floods of some memories come back into my brain by saying that. But but anyway, I would drive down, and not only would the guy at the hotel treat me like gold, and make sure all my needs are met. And I remember joking around the last time I stayed there. I said, the guy's name was Kenny. I said, Kenny, I'm getting a little old to climb up these stairs and carry my bags. So unless you got a young kid that can carry them for me, can you put me on the first floor? And he was like, you got it. So now, in the first floor room. You go to Clarence's Steakhouse there on 220 in Ridgeway. And, old man Clarence a couple of times actually came out and said hello. Clay Campbell, the president of Martinsville Speedway, will come up to me and say hello. So I enjoyed going there. And that was the most economical place to go, because I had excellent seats for that place, and it cost less than $100 for the two events, and I had start-finish line at the top, right? Actually in front of the pillars that hold up the tower, because I was behind the pillars and I couldn't see turn 4, and I was like, nah, this ain't good. One day I called Clay. I said, Clay, listen, I appreciate you put me in the top row there, but I couldn't see turn 4 because of the pillar, the steel girder. So maybe next year, could you put me like in front of that pillar, like so my back's against it? And you know what? He did. But anyway. So Pocono. It was a parade to me. The little bit I saw and the highlights that I saw, it was a parade. And anytime you got Jimmy Johnson starting up front, he's running away with it. And what I don't understand, one of the things I don't understand about this Hendrick is, they have all these cars, but they're not equal. And you're not going to tell me Jimmy Johnson is that much better than Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt Jr. You can't tell me that. I mean, you can. I'm not going to believe it. All right? I always say this with these multi-car teams.
One team gets all the good stuff. The second team gets all the, let's try this stuff. And then the third team gets what stuff is left over. So I am not a fan of multi-car teams. And in fact, and I think Jay Slice said this, I don't know if I can't see the chat, but Jay Slice said this once before, if you take out all the multi-car teams and made those multi-car teams just a one-car team, there'd be 33, he had to figure it out, how 33 cars or 34 cars. You wouldn't be filling the field every week. And let's forget about the starting parks. But anyway, Pocono. Jimmy Johnson was the winner. Greg Biffle was second. Dale Earnhardt Jr. third. Tony Stewart was fourth. Ryan Newman was fifth. Kyle Busch sixth, followed by his brother Kurt Busch seventh. Denny Hamlin eighth. Kevin Harvick ninth. And Joey Logano was 10th. The way the top 10 in points shakes down, you got Jimmy Johnson, followed by Carl Edwards in second. Clint Boyer having a good year in third. Dale Earnhardt Jr. fourth. Kevin Harvick fifth. Matt Kenseth sixth. Kyle Busch seventh. Casey Kane eighth. Brad Keselowski ninth. And Greg Biffle 10th. Now, Jimmy Johnson is starting to run away with it again. I mean, I thought his little penalty in Pocono was NASCAR's way of tightening up the points. So when he wins this race, I'm saying to myself, I said to one of the guys, I said, you know, I'm willing to bet they're going to find some stuff in his car that's not just perfect. And I was kind of watching Speed Channel, but I wasn't. It was out of the corner of my eye, and I saw John Darby down in Tech by the 48 car. Now, for those who don't know, John Darby sits at the right hand of the France family when it comes to stuff at NASCAR. And if he's down in Tech, he's got his coffee in one hand, a cigarette in the other. If he's down there, it's not good. So I'm thinking maybe they got the fine-tooth comb out. Because Mike Hilton told me to my face at New Hampshire one time when I was race director of the race, or I was working a nationwide event. Was it nationwide or tri? I think it was nationwide. And it seems like forever ago. But anyway, I had a long stretch of green flag race, and he kept telling me, he goes, we need a caution. And I'm agreeing, yeah, we do, we need a caution, yeah. No, Joe, we need a caution. Go a little for a few more laps. I need a caution. Now, I controlled the caution lights from the tower. And then as I was getting ready to flip it, I had to say to the flag man, you know, put it out, whatever the incident was. Debris in 3, whatever. All of a sudden, this big hand reaches across my chest, and I hit the light. So, you know, I quickly pick up on it. I said, all right, put it out, put it out, put it out. And he says to me, debris in 2. I said, debris in 2. All right, debris in 2. So as they're cleaning up the debris, I'm sorry to clear my voice there. As they're clearing up the debris, I get my binoculars and I'm trying to see what the debris was. I can't see it on my binoculars, but I watched the monitor and I clearly saw that it was a piece of metal. I didn't see that on my binoculars. I must have been looking in the wrong spot. So anyway, the timing and scoring is getting the field back in order, and he goes, Joe, all we do is put on a show. And we got to sell that show. And we got to have commercials. And we have to have commercials during caution flags so people don't miss green flag racing. Says, you understand that, Joe? Absolutely, sir. I understand it. Because that's what, and he's right. That's all we do is put on a show, you know? It's just like I was doing a race, I'm trying to remember where it was. I don't remember, Mansfield, Ohio. Jimmy Spencer comes up in the tower. And he says to me, I think somebody should throw their glove out the window so there's debris on the track, because this race is stinking up. The front 3 are gone and it's on the left of field. I'm like, I can't do it. He looks at me and goes, you might want to do it. So all of a sudden, there's debris on the racetrack. But there's real debris. I actually saw it. It was somebody's. There's the foam. It's actually a flat thing that sticks to your door bar. So all of a sudden that was out there. You know, but that's the, you know, the old competition yellow. The
field's running away. The leaders are running away from it. You'll never see, like back in the 60s and the 70s, or Richard Petty and Bobby Allison or David Pearson, lapping the field, or Fonty Flock, you had a 2-lap lead over the entire field. You'll never see that again. You'll never see that again. That just won't happen. Not in our lifetime. Not anymore. And racing was different back in the 60s and the 50s, and it was so different, because they didn't worry about that stuff. And if you showed up to race, you were in the show. They didn't do this qualifying. There could be 60, 70 cars in an event. And the other thing a lot of people don't know about is this. If the checker flag flew, and let's say it was a 100-lap event, the checker flag flew, the guy who wins the race, boom, 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 he's the winner. The race went on. Because if you didn't do 100 laps, you were considered a DNF. And the officials would stay there, whatever it took for a guy to complete his 100 laps. You could look it up. You could look it up. It's a fact. And then finally, they realized, it's 100 laps, it's over, let's go from there. And that's why the points, that a lot of people don't know this, if you go to a racetrack in the touring series or the top 3 series, and you go attempt to qualify and you don't make the show, you don't get any money per se, but you do get the points. Okay? You do get the points. So that's the way it is. Before I move on, I got this thing I got to talk. I got to pay the bills, here at the 505 on Race Show. Aaron Lewis is coming to the Emporium in Patchogue, Long Island, New York, Thursday, June 13th at 8 p.m. And here at InRavia, we've got your tickets. Click on the Win Now link in the homepage or contest to enter the win. Log on to theemporium.com for a complete listing of all shows. And remember, you need to be able to get to the Emporium in New York to win these tickets. So Aaron Lewis, the Emporium. So let's make it happen. Let's make a guy or a gal from this show win some of these tickets. I'd really like to see that. All right, so that's a good deal. Anyway, Nationwide Series went out to Iowa. Trevor Bayne wins is the first race that he's in after being married. He was married Tuesday, and he goes out to Iowa and wins. Good for him. Congratulations on both, Trevor. Austin Dillon finished second from the pole. Elliott Sadler was third. Sam Hornish Jr. fourth. Kyle Larson was fifth. Brian Scott sixth. Reagan Smith seventh. Justin Allgaier eighth. Ryan Blaney was ninth, and Mike Bliss rounds out the top 10. The way the points look, Reagan Smith is the point leader with Sam Hornish Jr. second, Justin Allgaier third, Austin Dillon fourth, Elliott Sadler fifth, Parker Klingerman sixth, Brian Vickers seventh, Brian Scott eighth, Trevor Bayne ninth, and Kyle Larson still hanging on in the top 10. So it's all good there in the Nationwide. And it's kind of funny. I don't understand why they went all the way out to Iowa, and they raced Sunday morning because they rained out Saturday. And if you've ever been to Iowa Speedway, and that's one of those places you can't get to from here. And I remember the first time I went out there, we stayed at the hotel. We had like an hour drive to the racetrack, and all I saw on the road was cornfields. Cornfields rolling forever. And we pull up to this racetrack, and I'm going to tell you, it's a gorgeous facility. Gorgeous facility. And everything was nice about this place, everything. So anyway, we got Hairy Man on line 4. We'll have a little chat with Hairy Man. Hairy Man, how you doing, buddy?
What's up, Joseph?
How are you?
Good. Yeah, I see everybody complaining about the lack of competition in NASCAR.
Right.
It's like a freight train race.
Yep.
And, I go to Dover every year. I've been in the pits at Dover, met most of the drivers there now, and I have to say Jimmy Johnson is probably one of the nicest guys, level-headed guys you're ever going to want to meet.
I agree.
Chad Knaus needs to go. He's a cheater. He's been caught how many times? Jimmy Johnson's got a lot of talent. He doesn't need Chad Knaus to be competitive. But I mean, 3 strikes you're out, and he's been caught on radio. He's been caught messing with the car.
Yeah.
I mean, they broke up Ray Evernham and Jeff Gordon,
Yeah.
and so the same thing needs to happen. As
Well,
soon as that happens, attendance will go up because people are tired of going to watch Jimmy Johnson benefit.
Oh, I have so many people say that to me. Exactly what you're saying. And like, what does he have that everybody else doesn't? Because I don't think he's that good. He's good.
I posted it. He is very good. He's probably the best driver I've seen, natural talent driver I've seen since Richard Petty.
Right.
But you know what? In today's NASCAR, where there is so much emphasis on being fair and even,
Mm-hmm.
it is physically impossible unless you're doing something that's not legal. There is no way, shape, or form one person can be so dominant.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly with that one. Because he is overly dominant. It's like he gets up front, he's done, he's gone, he's out. Gone. I just don't understand it.
Well, unfortunately, it's starting. I mean, I talk to a lot of people that, I go to Dover every year, like I said, and I talk to a lot of people who I've made friends with down there from the track that live here on Long Island.
Mm-hmm.
We stay in touch. We got our own little social network.
Yeah.
Half of them don't go anymore because half of them will say that it just got too cost prohibitive.
Right.
Now, when I was staying at a hotel, and I stayed an hour's ride away because the hotels near the track seemed to all of a sudden, I don't know, they seemed to get price increases during that weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. You can't call it price gouging, but,
Right.
So I stayed an hour away from the hotel.
Yeah.
And we went, but even that, it would cost me, just going down there as a single person, over $1,500
Mm-hmm.
to stay for 3 days.
Yeah.
Between the tickets for the race, food, gas going back and forth, and the hotel stay.
Right.
$1,500, and that's for 3 days.
Right.
$1,500, I could take my family to the Grand Canyon.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So NASCAR needs to. The other half is that they just are tired of watching Jimmy Johnson dominate every year, every race. There's just no way. It's physically impossible in today's series that somebody can be that good.
Right. Well, it's funny because you look back into the 50s and the 60s, and when it was a driver that was that, I don't want to say good, but that far advanced, they took care of it themselves. You might want to finish second this week.
Yep.
And that's not happening. Nobody's stepping up. There's no bumping and grinding and sparks flying racing anymore. And I think part of that is you can't drive these race cars. You're flat-footed at most of these racetracks. Take these restrictor plates off. Take some of the aero out of these cars. Make them real cars and make these drivers drive them. And you'll see that the men and the boys will be separated real quick.
Simple way of doing it. Real simple way of doing it. Remove the splitter.
Yeah.
Remove the splitter. They've had spoilers and wings on cars in NASCAR for the past 40 years.
Yep.
So, but these splitters and the downforce for them,
Mm-hmm.
that's just another way of, and all you hear is, aero loose or aero tight. or they took the air off the back of the car.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I never. Now, my son's a physics major, and even he goes, Dad, what are they talking about with the air?
Right.
He goes, well, it wasn't this way 40 years ago.
No.
He says, yeah, I know, but do you understand what they're talking about? And I was like, honestly, no. And you know my son, he's not a big race fan.
No, he's not. No, he's not. But no, you're right. And fans, it's just like in any other sport. Nobody wants to see somebody win all the time. It gets boring.
I mean, let me tell you something. Even in professional wrestling, when Hulk Hogan was the champion, he even lost a few times. Didn't get pinned, but he lost. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Oh, yeah.
But whatever the case, he didn't always win.
You know,
It's just a shame that the people are speaking and NASCAR's not listening.
You're right. Well, 22 Figure 8 just posted in the channel because take the spotters and the spoilers off and let the real drivers race to the front. And I'll tell you what, there's a lot of spotters that drive these cars from the roof of the facility. You know,
Yep.
you listen to that because I've listened to this. I put every driver in my radio when I go watch a race in my scanner, and I just let it scan, and whoever's talking talks, whatever. And you hear that. I mean, almost to the point when even when they're pulling out of the pits off a pit road. All right, second gear, third gear, hold it, 4,200. All right, fourth gear, go. You got to tell the guy when to shift. What the heck's up with that? Come on.
I think the last true rookie to come out of NASCAR was Harry Gant.
Yeah.
You know, you got these kids coming up, and it's all money, and it's not so much talent as it is money.
Well, you know, the late great Walt Edsel once told me, if there isn't grease under their fingernails, they don't deserve to be in this sport. And some of these guys just show up with their suit and their helmet. They don't even show up with it. Somebody brings it for them, and it's hanging in their hauler, and I don't think they even know where the toolbox is in their hauler. They just get in and drive.
Honestly, I don't think some of them know how to check the oil in their personal car.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even I know how to do that.
I'm not going to say a word on that.
But when it's they need to do that. They, like Mike Hilton told me, all to do is put on a show. They need to clean up the show. They need to make the racing interesting again. You know, I always said, and people think I'm nuts, you shouldn't be able to pit under yellow. You shouldn't be able to pit. All right, it's yellow. Pull over to the side, go high, whatever, clean up the mess, whatever, tow the wrecks off. All pit shops will be done on the green, and you'll see a whole different race.
Well, here again, if you're going to pit under yellow, let everybody pit under yellow.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because for those who don't know what he just said, when a caution flag comes out, lead lap cars pit first, lap cars pit second. They can't pit together at the same time, unless they call for a quickie yellow, which means there's, just maybe a soda can on the track they got to get off. But a normal course, that's why cautions are 6 laps each.
Yeah, well, you know what? There hasn't been a quickie yellow yet this year in NASCAR.
No, not in the top series. Nope. None at all.
So they should all line up single file as they came under the caution flag, no matter where. Whoever came under the caution flag first, when the caution flag came out, that's who should be in the first car behind the pace car. You all go on to pit road behind that car.
Yeah, well, there's still penalties. That the penalty is tail end of the longest line from back in the day where the lead lap cars were in one lane and the lap cars were the other lane. So there's still now it's double file. So the longest line is going to have 22 cars if they're all still running. Back then, you could be the 40th place car. But the rules still stay. They haven't changed that rule. The penalty for certain infractions is tail end of the longest line. And it's still on my pit card. It's still on my pit card under the penalties. I don't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, somebody hasn't
But-
picked that up.
Oh,
No.
like I said, it's staring them straight in the face,
It is.
and you know they don't want to. I don't know if they don't want to, or if they think that, you know, like I said, Jimmy Johnson's a super nice guy.
Oh, yeah.
He's very level. He's very level-headed, whether he wins or he loses or he gets wrecked. I've never seen him angry.
No.
You know, but there is just they've done it with Evernham and Jeff, and they need
Yep.
to do it with Chad and Jimmy.
Oh, yeah.
Not that- I honestly don't think Jimmy needs Chad, but
Yeah.
Chad's a convicted cheater,
Mm-hmm.
and he needs to go.
Yeah.
Any
Like-
any other sport, you fail 3 drug tests in the baseball,
You're
and
done.
You're gone. You're
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
You fail 3 drug tests in football, you're gone.
Mm-hmm.
They made A.J. Allmendinger sit out how long and do rehab for an antihistamine.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, I mean, their penalties are very inconsistent.
Well, you know, and I don't recall which person this was, but there was a driver on probation or crew member on probation who got penalized again. Now, in America, if you're on probation and you screw up, you're out. They take
You're doing time.
yeah. So NASCAR's the only sport where they put you on probation. It doesn't matter. And I'm like on lifetime probation at one racetrack. I am on lifetime probation. I can't come out of the men's room with a paper towel and miss the garbage bear, because if I do, they're going to accuse me of throwing trash all over the pit area. So
It might cause a yellow flag.
yeah, exactly. You know, I mean, I'm on lifetime probation. Man, I can't believe that.
Yeah, double secret probation. That's a good.
Yeah. Well, as you know, you and I don't understand the business.
Probably.
Monkey business, I'll tell you. Anyway, well, hey man, thanks for calling in, my friend.
Anyway, I just want to give a fair shout out to my son Alex. Made the Dean's List of Suffolk Community this year.
Good for Alex.
I say I'm very proud of him.
Good for him. Congratulations. Alex has fine parents that were able to guide him to that. So,
Well, that's most of my wife. She did all the hard work.
well, I was trying to be nice, man.
Yeah, thanks.
Hey man, good chatting with you, man.
You too. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, be good.
Bye.
All right. Well, we had the hairy man. Good guy. Me and the hairy man go back a long way. But yeah, good fella. Alex is a good kid. Good kid. He's very bright. Very bright kid, and I've known him a long time as well. But anyway, the trucks are Texas, and I didn't get to see that. I wish I would have, because it looked like it was a good race. Jeb Burton was the winner. Ty Dillon second. Jermaine Quiroga Jr., I hope I said that right. Matt was third. Matt Crofton was fourth. Brendan Gaughan fifth. Darrell Wallace Jr. sixth. Johnny Sauter was seventh. Ryan Blaney eighth. James Brusha ninth. And Miguel Paludo rounding out the top 10. The way those points are rolling out, you have Matt Crafton first, Jeb Burton second, Brendan Gaughan third, Johnny Sauter fourth, Ryan Blaney fifth, James Brusha sixth, Ty Dillon seventh, Darrell Wallace Jr. eighth, Miguel Paludo ninth, and Dakota Armstrong rounding out the top 10. You know, Jeb Burton getting that first win. He is the son of Ward Burton, former Daytona 500 winner. He did a nice job, and I'll tell you, Ward Burton, I remember when he was driving, and I had trouble understanding, because he had that deep West Virginia accent, but I'll tell you what. When I saw the highlights and the kid took the checker flag and you saw the reaction, you know, and he is definitely, you know, a proud papa for his son, you know, and some folks just don't understand that. They don't understand the emotions that involved with racing, and I'll tell you what, you know, I'm an emotional guy. There's no question about that, and sometimes it's out there, and you know, and sometimes it's not. But when you're watching your kid race, my kids raced. They raced, you know, go-karts, and my daughter raced here on Long Island. But you know, the excitement and you know, in the beginning, anytime my kid drove the car off the racetrack, it was a proud moment, you know, because I think she watched too many of my racing videos and saw some of the stuff I did. I tore up a lot of equipment. There was one year, I don't think I drove my car off the racetrack once. The tow truck guy stopped asking me where I was parked because he went because he was there so many times. But you know what? We put it back together. We went back out there the next week. But anyway, the Burton family is, you know, I saw an interview. John Andretti, I'm sorry, John Andretti was doing with Jeb Burton, and he said to Jeb, he goes, you know, your uncle Jeff Burton raced, your father Ward Burton, now you. He said, just like me with the Andretti name, he goes, is there added pressure to you being a Burton? You know, you're big race winners and you're a young kid. And he said yes. And I was like, whoa. You know, I mean, even if it is, you don't admit it. You just, no, I get to do my own thing. That's what I would have said if I was in that. You know, if I was like a second, third generation driver with a name that everybody knew, I don't know if I would say that there's a lot of pressure. Because we all know there is, but you just do your thing, you know? I don't know. You know, yeah, like Brendan Gunn said, I wish my dad owned the casino or Menards. Yeah. Well, you know, it's funny. I was watching something on one of the racing channels, and Martin Truex Jr., and they were showing how his family's made their money, you know, in their industry with the boats and the rigging and all of that kind of stuff, and how he worked the boats, and, you know, I don't know. Yeah, WJ, thank. Yeah, but they know my name for not the reasons I'd like them to know my name for, but it's just incredible, you know, where, you know, you look again. I'm gonna say this again. You look back at some of the stuff that with the drivers and where they came from and what they did and you know what jobs they had when they weren't racing, and now you don't have that. You know, famous is famous. You know, it's just so different today. It's just so different. But getting back on something that Harry Man was saying, you know, how they broke up certain tandems. It's like when Larry McReynolds, you know, I don't know I'm not friends with Larry McReynolds. I don't play golf with Larry Mack, but here's a guy. He was a crew chief in DEI. He goes from crew chief to announcer. Jeff Hammond was Jeff Gordon's crew chief. He went from crew chief to announcer. You know, I'm like, I'm starting to see like a little pattern here. You know, it's like anything else. It's you don't want to be the guy they're looking at. You know, one of my bosses said at UPS, he says to me, he goes, Joe, you don't want to be the best guy in the pack, and you don't want to be the least best. See, at UPS, nobody was the worst. You were the best or the least best. That's how they measure things. It's the top best, you know, the top three, and the bottom or the three least best. Because everybody at UPS was the best, you know. And he said, you want to be in the middle, so you're like under the radar. And I'm thinking they need to take a look at this 48 car, and they need to find out why it's that much more competitive. You know, it's I don't know, just one of those things. You know, and Kyle Petty, a wannabe race car driver. Let me tell you something. A lot of people don't remember when he was a good runner until he broke his thigh bone and his humerus. Whole different guy. Whole
different guy after he had that severe injury and he lost a year and a half. You know, just a lot of people forget that. See, when you get hurt in a race car, as bad as he got hurt in a race car, and you break the bones that he broke in that wreck, and I forget where it was, it changed him. It changed him. And all of a sudden he realized, wait, when this race is over, I gotta get out, and I gotta go see my family tonight. Kyle Petty was good. And I know in the beginning, when he was running ARCA, he really had a cup car in the ARCA series, and because when he went to Daytona in the ARCA series and won that race, that first time he ever raced, you know, but when he went through the ranks and he went racing Cup with his dad, he had some wins, he had some good runs. He was second in, I believe he was second or third in points, I don't remember, but he was up there in the points because he was on the podium, he was at the dinner, and he made a speech, so yeah, anyway. Jason Jarrett, hey, yeah, whatever happened to Jason Jarrett? I don't know. But yeah, he won at Dover, and in one of the All-Star races too, him and the late Davey Allison were beating the crap out of each other, coming for the win. Where, and I think there was no victory lane because Davey was in the hospital and Kyle was like out in left field as well. But I don't know. But yeah, he had some nice runs back when he was running in the family car. Even when he was running for Sabatis right before he got hurt, and then when he was running, he ran Wood Brothers for a while, and you know, just one of those things. And you know, it's the funny thing when he ran for Felix Sabatis, and this is where, you know, Felix Sabatis didn't belong in NASCAR. Let me tell you, because he was just a guy with money that came in, and he signed Kyle Petty to a deal, and Kyle Petty was a humble Southern gentleman, and there was no contract. It was a handshake. It was a handshake, and Kyle Petty went to Felix and says, listen, I've always run the 42, you know, for the most part, and it's a family car. Can I run the 42? Felix says, I don't care, man, whatever number you want, we'll go get the 42. So Felix buys number 42. Now they part ways. They're going to part ways. Kyle wants to take his number with it. Felix won't let him have it. Some people don't know that. You know, you don't do that stuff, man. You don't do that stuff. You know, I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. So ever since then, I can't be a fan of someone that drives the 42 car. I'm one of those wacky guys. What can I tell you? What can I tell you? Anyway, I don't know. I didn't do the truck points. Truck points. Or did I? No. Matt Crafton is first in points. Jeb Burton second. And if I did, we'll say it again. I think I did, because this looks familiar. Yeah, I did. I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Anyway, let me read this. We'll take a break. Less Than Jake is coming to the Emporium in Patchogue, Long Island, New York, Tuesday, June 11th at 6 p.m. and at Rivio and at Rivio. You've got your tickets. Click on the Win Now link on the homepage or contest to enter the win. Log on to theemporium.com for a complete listing of all the shows. And remember, you need to be able to get to the Emporium in New York to win these tickets. So again, let's make that happen. I want somebody on my show that listens to my show. I mean, I don't care who wins, but you know, I'd like to hear one of my guys, hey, I won, it was good. So, somebody noticed my reading glasses. I'm not using them. They're here. They're here. But you know what I learned? If I put the notes up here, it's far enough away that I could read them. Or like the other notes I have, I had them in front of me a little bit. You know, that's kind of weird. And you know, I get some stuff. I almost didn't have my hat today. I couldn't find it. I got some stuff going on, so I couldn't find my hat. So this is what I was going to do. I got to tell you what I was going to do. This is kind of funny. I was going to come in like with a visor, and the visor, you know, you can go like, I forget where you get them, but you can get a visor like you have like spiked hair and it's blonde. And I was going to come in wearing that, and I was going to tell everybody, this is the new me. I'm tired of being a bad guy. I'm going to be a good guy, so I got a new haircut. I was going to come in with that. You guys would have flipped. You guys would have been like having withdrawals. You would have like probably left the chat room, re-logged in, thinking you had the wrong show. I was going to do that. I was going to shave my mustache off. You know, you do these things when you have life-changing events. You know? But I didn't have time to do that today. Somebody else told me that. Spencer's in the Mall. Go to Spencer's in the Mall. They have that. See, now if I do that, it's not going to be funny because I talked about it. But I was going to do that. You know, I was going to I was gonna do that. People were looking like, what the? There's something wrong with this guy. I mean, they said that already, but Joe's notes are. Yeah, I mean, WJ, you saw that. Sometimes the notes, like when I do the commercials and stuff that I read, and they are in big font. But then there's the stuff that I write. Sometimes I can't even read my own writing. But I don't know. That's why I need an intern. I need like a young guy that's going to school to learn broadcasting or something. I'll make it seem like the guy puts in 1 million hours, so he gets credits for his class and stuff. But, nah, come in clown makeup. People will think you're a promoter. Some people think I'm a clown already. But it is what it is. But yeah, I was gonna do that, but my plans kind of got a little jumbled up this afternoon. I had to do something else, and so. But it was a little more important than getting the spiked hair hat. So sometimes you gotta, it's like a priority thing. But the Grava. For those who don't know, and I'm gonna give one, and they recognize it as Hairy Man is Grava. What is he saying? He's saying the cards we play with next. Yeah, we have some. We have to get a good card game going. We should have one here. We should play during the game, during the show. That would be good. I think that would be real good. But anyway, the Hall of Fame 100. Now, I don't normally discuss local weekly track stuff on my show. And somewhere I wrote it down. But I don't know what I did with it. Oh, here it is. The Hall of Fame 100. Now, it was held at Riverhead Raceway, and it was the Richie Evans Memorial Hall of Fame 100. And a good field of cars showed up for the event. Yes, I do. Not always. The only one involved in my car, 22 again. But Brian Priest won the pole and won the race with Justin Bonsignor second, Ronnie Silk third, Tom Rogers Jr. fourth, Howie Brody fifth, Eddie Brunhutzel third, sixth, John Beatty seventh, Vinny Biondello eighth, David Royce ninth, and Dave Brigatti 10th. And I'll tell you what, the top three guys, tour regulars, Ryan Priest, Justin Bonsignor, and Ronnie Silk, tour regulars, and then you have Tom Rogers. How everybody else is a local regular guy. And I hope some of these guys. I really hope that some of these guys, these Riverhead regulars, come to race this tour race. I really do, because I think it would be a good race. I really do. I mean, it's going to be a good race without them, but I think it's going to be a really good race with them. It's just, especially on a time trial show. I know I was talking to one of the scorers over the weekend on Sunday, and she said that, it was almost like a parade. I don't know. I wasn't there, but any time you have that, time trials, and you don't do an inversion, especially on a quarter or fifth of a mile racetrack, where it's tough to pass. That's what you're going to have. Sometimes the way they start is the way they're going to finish. But nevertheless, it was from what I understand, it was a good win for Ryan Priest driving the Bill and Barbara Park owned number 20. Bill Park, I can remember, the guy's got to be like a gazillion, because I remember being a kid watching Bill Park race. So, unless he has a painting in his attic that's fading away, because I don't know, he's been around a long time. Anyway, we're going to take a break. When we come back, I want to talk about how the bonus plan works in NASCAR with the tires, and stir up some nonsense with the tires and costs. We'll be back.
InRadio.com.
Good Times Magazine, New York's best entertainment paper for 43 years. Check out their calendar for all the latest music info, including New York City, Queens, Nassau, and Suffolk. Studio News brings you the biggest news about the hottest artists and sounds. Technobeat is your guide to electronica, techno, house, and dubstep. Packtrack keeps you up to date on the biggest events at the area's performing arts centers and theaters. Good Times Magazine gives you all this and more. It's bi-weekly and it's free. Pick up your copy today or visit goodtimesmag.com.
You are listening to InRadio.com.
Stop putting putting it off and start painting it up today at Ben's Paint Station, featuring Benjamin Moore paints, Sickens, wood finishes, paints, and professional paint supplies, ideal for contractors and homeowners, stain paints and epoxies, family owned and operating, in business for over 55 years, professional and experienced help, located at 2 locations, 55B Route 25, Coram, Long Island, New York, and 1495 Plaza Montauk Highway, Mastic, New York. Call them at 775-7435 and 775-8135. Ben's Paint Station, featuring Benjamin Moore Paints. Log on to the Enravio Advertisers page today.
Enravio.
Hey, this is Chuck from the Two Guys and the Chick Show on Enravio.com. Hey, you know, this last election, apparently there were only 5.6 billion unique views online. Go figure. I guess it kind of opened their eyes a little bit that internet is the new way to go. I guess you could say the future of radio is now, broadcasting to 6.8 billion people. Enravio.com. Education, now you're up. Go.
Okay, we're back. All right, I want to talk about some of the awards and the payouts that happen at a typical tour race, Whelen Modified Tour race. And just so you know, I'm not just pulling this stuff from, you know, out of my underwear here. This is an official entry blank, okay? And I'm sure you can pick that up on the thing. You know, enlarge your screen if you want to, just if you don't believe me. But it's an official entry blank. I just happen to have the one for the Hoosier Tire 200 coming up here on Long Island. But they're all the same other than the schedule and the payouts. They're all the same. It's a filling, you know, and this race pays $2,600 to win with $300 for last. I still think that's a little insulting. But anyway, I'm not a race promoter, and maybe if I was, I'd understand. But anyway, there's a lot of money that goes into these events that doesn't come from the promoter, comes from NASCAR or contingency people. And when you look at this, and I'm just going to read the bonus plan, as they call it, $4,200 in the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour bonus plan is to be paid to the top 21 eligible car owners as follows. First and 21st get $200 each. Eligible car owners are those who are ranked in the top 40 in the current points, et cetera, et cetera. Now, if the eligible car owner does not return, he's considered withdrawn from the event, determination, blah, 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 you know, that kind of stuff. So there's NASCAR money there. Then you have the $600, the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour Champion driver bonus plan is to be paid to the 2012 NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour driver. The 2012 NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour Champion driver and or car owner must enter, qualify for, and compete in the event. If the 2012 NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour driver is not eligible for this award, then the award will be paid to the 2012 NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour car owner. And then it says if the 2012 NASCAR Tour driver and or owner are not eligible for this award, the award for the event will be distributed through the 2013 NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour Points Fund. So in other words, if they don't pay this out, it doesn't disappear. It goes in a point fund. Then it's $200 is paid to the 2012 NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour Rookie of the Year. So if the Rookie of the Year enters, you know, he gets an extra $200, at least for this event. Okay, and then there's some special awards. There's a $750 goes to the they call it $750 Coca-Cola Move of the Race award is paid to the highest finishing eligible driver who advances the most positions during the course of the race. In case of a tie, the highest finishing driver will receive the award. So in other words, if you start 28th and you finish 5th, you've gone up 23 spots. And if nobody's gone up 23 spots, you get $750. The Coors Light pole, or the 21 means 21 pole award, is paid $650 per event award to the driver with the highest qualifying time eligible to qualify under the manufacturer's prize condition. So if they're under 21, they can't get the Coors Light pole award. They get the 21 means 21 award. Then you have Hoosier Tire Company, a product award to be distributed among the tire distribution plan for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. And I'll explain that a little bit, and I'm going to stir the pot with that one. All right, then And the $550 Sunoco Special Fuel Awards is divided amongst the top three, 300 for first, 150 for second, and then, no, this is at Riverhead only. This is a little different. First gets 300, fifth gets 150, and 10 gets 100. Then you have the $500 from Wheeling Engineering for the winner of the race. So there's $500 that gets put in from Wheeling Engineering. That's in every race. So anyway, then you have the Hoosier Tire Awards divided, and that's second, 6th, and 12th. That's a special track award. That's coming right from the racetrack. All right, now the Hoosier Tire allotment. Now each team is allowed or is given an allotment of tires. In this event, it's 8. Some is 10, but it depends on the event. So they're allowed to use 8 tires for this event. And all the tires used for qualifying and the race must be purchased at the track and scanned by Hoosier, unless otherwise approved by the series director. And he's not. The series directors are going to deviate from that. 4 tires must be used for qualifying to begin the race. The remaining tire allotment may be used for practice and change during the race. All qualifying tires must remain in impound until released by NASCAR. So technically, once you buy your tires, use them. They're under the strict scrutiny here. That is a distribution plan, and this is what a lot of people don't understand. Hoosier Tire has posted award tires for all events in 2013, which includes 40 tires to be distributed to the eligible NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour car owners per event as follows. Because people have always asked, how does that work? Well, I'm reading it right from the entry blank. All right. After the completion of the 3rd event of the 2013 NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour season, because the first 3 are based on the previous season, the tires will be awarded based on the current 2013 NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour champion car owner point standings. 2 tires are awarded to each of the 20 highest car owners from the current 2013 NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour championship car owner point standings who make a good faith attempt to compete in the event. Good faith attempt is at the discretion of the series director. NASCAR in its own discretion may determine what contributes a good faith attempt to compete. So if any of the 40 tires remain after conditions stipulated above are met, then 1 tire will be awarded to the next highest car owner from the current 2013 NASCAR points standings, then to the next highest car owner from the current 2013, and so on until all posted tires have been awarded. Under any and all circumstances, the maximum distribution to any 1 car owner for any NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour event will be 3 tires per event. So a team owner, car owner, can end up with 3 free tires. Okay. If any of the tires remain after all of the conditions stipulated have been met, then the remaining tires may be distributed at NASCAR's discretion and were distributed at another event in 2013. So think about this, 40 tires, about 800 apiece. If you think Hoosier's saying, we're going to give you 40 tires, guys, because we just like you, because you spend money every week. They don't do that. It's spread out into the cost. I'm not a dummy. I'm a marketing guy. I'm a businessman. It's spread out. They're paying for these tires anyway. And it's about $800 a set on the tour. I got to wonder. And then, of course, there's the money from Modified Mod Maniac. But I got to wonder, now, when you go to a weekly track that's not giving away any tires, who's not contributing any point fund money based on tires, why is their tires so much more expensive? Can somebody out in that chat room who's in the know, who goes to their local racetracks, whether it's here, Connecticut, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Texas, Minnesota, wherever they go racing, maybe somebody could explain that to me. Because that just doesn't make sense to me. They're giving away 40 tires every event. Every event, 40 tires to get every event. There's 16 events. There's 40 tires. I mean, that's wow. That's 640 tires. 640 tires times $800. I mean, you know, that's $50,000. I mean, understand it. You know, and why at some of these local tracks, the tire is so expensive. Right? Because I know why it's so expensive. Okay? You know, they do sell a lot of tires. Don't get me wrong, because I know, I watched the team, there's a 10 tire allotment, and there's nothing stopping them from having 20. This is one of my arguments. But they can only use 10 for the week. Let's say we go to Thompson International Speedway in Thompson, Connecticut. They can only use 10. And let's say it's a 3 tire change, so they're allowed the 4 on the car that they qualified on and start the race on. Then let's say they're allowed 3, but they're allowed an emergency change set. So that's 4, 8, 9, that's 11 tires that they're allowed to bring out there. Now the big dollar teams, they could afford to do this. But the low guy, and think about this now. You want the perfect stagger. For those who don't know what stagger is, that's the difference between the right side tire and the left side tire. And we'll throw a number. Let's say you need 4 inches of stagger. For those who don't understand how this works. Let's say you want 4 inches of stagger across the back, the rear wheels. So what that means is the right side tire needs to measure circumference-wise 86 inches, and the left side tire has to measure 82 inches. That's stagger. It helps the car turn. The more, how can I say it? I guess the narrower the turn, the more stagger you want. Because you want to kind of have the car almost turn itself. So anyway, now you think about this. Now, and these guys are down to like 1/8 of an inch. You know, they want to have in their stagger. They know exactly what they want to have. And if you have 3 sets of tires to play with to make it happen, to get your number, because it's not like it is at some racetracks where you get to keep trying different ones. Here's your 4, dude. Here's your 8. Here you go. Make it happen. You know, I'm sure that's the perfect world. But like I said, let's say that the low book guy, he can only buy, I mean, the 4 to start with, maybe 6. You know, the guy that drives, you know, one of the cars that I kind of help out a little bit, and even if it's just moral for support sometimes, you know, I think that guy gets like 6 tires. You know, so he gets his 4, an extra front, and an extra rear. And then sometimes people give him some takeoffs and stuff. But that guy doesn't have the luxury to sit in a tire compound all afternoon getting the perfect setup. So here's the thing now. You know, I don't feel, in all fairness to all the competitors, that they should be able to do that. The big dollar guys, you know what? It's still a touring series. It's still working men trying to go racing. You know what? You get 4 here. Here's your 4. Keep them moving. Make it happen. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that, you know, because if it's about whoever has the biggest bank account, let's do this then. The week before the opening race, every team owner then takes his P&L sheet, turns it into NASCAR. Okay, you got 3 million. Well, you got 3.2. Anybody get 1 and 3? All right, 3.2. You're the point. You're the winner. And let's do that. Give out a trophy for that. Who has the biggest bank accounts, and you know the top 20 in bank accounts. And then let's make it an even playing field, and everybody gets 4, 6, or 8 tires, and that's all you get. And you make it happen, and you go racing. You know, because you know what, and what happens sometimes is this. The haves in racing, see, there's the haves and the have-nots, and no matter what industry you're in, what sport you're in, what business you're in, there's haves and have-nots. So the haves, I'm getting these signs from the control room. But the haves, you know, what's happening is, and I think this is just Joe's opinion, the haves
are destroying the sport of racing and the touring series. That's what happened to the K&N Pro Series, because all these Cup teams decided to use that as a development program. So the guy who wanted to just come up here, run what they called the old Busch North Series, and then it was changed to the Busch East, then it was just the Campbell World Series East, then now it's the K&N Pro Series. The guy that just wanted to go racing, Brian True was a prime example. He was a guest on our show. He was in that K&N Pro Series, and and let me tell you, the guy makes a good living. I mean, I'm not going to tell you I don't know what he makes, but he has a good business, he makes a good living, and he works hard, but he couldn't compete with the Michael Waltrip Racings, with the Joe Gibbs. He couldn't compete with the Cup teams that had K&N cars. Now he's Modified Tour Racing. So now, what's happening now in the Modified Tour is there's not a lot of middle of the pack guys anymore. You're either up front or you're in the back. There's, just like in Long Island, there's no middle class anymore. It's the rich people and the not so rich people. And rich is measured in different terms. But without the middle of the pack guys, you start losing. They race in other places. These guys are racers. And I know I said this on a show once before. You know, at the World Series at Thompson, I walked over to the MRS garage to see how many cars were over there, and they had more than us, and they were racing for a hell of a lot less. And 90% of those guys that were in there used to be tour regulars. And when you talk to them, it had to do with cost. And the big guys got all of the tires, and the big guys made all the decisions, and certain handful of owners were controlling the rules and getting parts and equipment that was so expensive that the little guy couldn't afford to keep up. So when you know, I look at that, what you see here is NASCAR tries to spread it around. They try to give, you know, I mean, there isn't even 40 cars in the points, but they're giving, you know, tires, you know, in the bonus plan, they give them money to the top 40. You know, and you look at these things, and you look, you know, and everybody bashes NASCAR and stuff, but NASCAR is doing what it can financially, what it can do with the help from their sponsors and whatnot. And when, you know, when you look at winnings, like, you know, sometimes you go down and you get your local newspaper, you'll say, oh, let me see how low. Well, you know, this guy finished like 40th. Why did he get more money than the guy who finished 32nd? And then part of that has to do with stuff like bonus plans and payoffs and who's in points, who's not in points, and contingency decals. All those decals that you see on the fenders of race cars, even on the weekly series, even though the money don't go to the drivers, which, you know, sometimes I wonder why. Maybe I should check that out. But you have to have that decal. And in the touring series, there's an official on Tech Day that goes around with a checklist. And I'll tell you what, and I've watched her do her job, and I'll tell you, I would love to do that job, not because it looks like it's an easy job, because I'm not going to sit there and say, yeah, you don't have the Coors Pole Award sticker. I wouldn't say nothing. I just put an X. They don't have it. That guy wins the pole. He gets out. He's all ready. Oh, I got the pole. Oh, you didn't have the sticker. You're not eligible for it. Who's the second fastest qualifier? That's what they should do, instead of run around. And then that person, I watch her run to the hall. She runs to the hall, and she gets that decal and brings it to them. No. See me later, and you come get it. That's how it should be. I'm not saying she does her job right, because she works hard and she does a lot of things, but, you know, you don't want to have it. You know what you need. Everybody gets the full sticker packet. And the sticker pack, there's a picture where the decal needs to be. You know, you don't put it where you want it to be, where it needs to be. Like when I sponsored the John Kraft Memorial Rookie of the Year Award in 2006 at a weekly racetrack, I wanted the sticker to be on the B post. If you rode out to the track that night, and I make it back up, there was a point system for this award. So this way it took out all guesswork, all favoritism on my part. The first rookie across the line, whether he finished 12th or 19th, got 10 points. The next rookie got 9, and so forth down the line. And if there was more than 10, everybody after that got 1.
at the end of the year, we added up the points. Whoever had the most points was the Rookie of the Year. But you had to have the sticker on your B-post. And I had a person that walked around and just said, oh, they got it, they got it, they got it, they got it, they got it. Because if you didn't get the points that day. Now, not that it was such a big payoff, but let's put it this way. If the guy the total payoff paid more than if they won 5 races. Now, I know there was somebody in the chat room before. I believe he was the first runner-up. I don't know if he's still in the chat room, but he got a piece of that action. Raider 19, he was a rookie in the Blunders. But it was, you had to put, it tells you what it has to be. Because what happened, it used to be, and guys were like wise guys like me, that it said you had to have the decal. And I can remember Teddy Christopher, it was like 2003, 2004, you had to have a certain sticker on your car, and I think they put it on the chassis, like, that the only way you'd see it is if, God forbid, he rolled over. He goes, well, it says I have to have it on the car. I do. It's on there, you know. It's just, these companies deserve to, you know, they're putting up a lot of money, and like I said, in the touring series, Hoosier's putting up a lot of money, and I know in the weekly All-American Series, Wheeling All-American Series, Hoosier takes care of racetracks who are 100% Hoosier tire users, and you know, with their key divisions. And like I said earlier in the show, there's a lot of divisions at a lot of racetracks that are not considered NASCAR. Like for years, the figure eights were not considered NASCAR. And I don't know what they're called now, but when they first were in NASCAR, they were considered limited sportsmen. Then, believe it or not, they were called chargers as far as NASCAR was concerned, because you had your feature division at every racetrack, and on Long Island was the modified. Some races, you know, like in Connecticut, and what it was SKs. Some were late model, some were project. Your feature division, your highest paid division. You know, they did their thing, and then the second division was, you know, there, and for the longest time it was late model. It was here in Long Island, it was modified late models and figure eights, even though the figure eights were paid more total purse than the late models. But you know, when you look at that, you know, you got to do this stuff, you know. Kind of like painting Hoosier on your tires. You got that 22. I'll tell you what, if I could figure out, it's on a VCH, if I can put it on a disc, maybe we'll show that, you know, that snip here one day on the show, because as the cars are going on the racetrack, you can clearly see that my Hoosier doesn't look like everybody else's Hoosier. Because I use bright white paint, because that's all I had. So sometimes you do what you got to do. But yeah, I did a lot of dumb things, and there were some people that I had, you know, kind of helped out that, you know, went on to win that I helped, but there was nothing in the rules. There was nothing in the rules that said you couldn't paint Hoosier on your tires. Like, we didn't break the rules. It didn't say you cannot paint. They did say you can't have any foreign substances on it. So the paint was from America, so it didn't make it foreign. It wasn't from like Japan or something. It was from America, so it wasn't foreign. So I got the rule covered on that one. You know, if I would have got caught, you know, the tires can't have any foreign substance. It's not. It's American-made paint. You know, it's. You know, I had all the answers. And TC never breaks the rules. Never. TC. TC. He's my buddy, man. He's a good guy, TC. But you know, that's just the way it is. Anyway, hey, listen. Tomorrow, Tuesday, 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you got Beatles Across the Universe, highlighting the musical career of the Fab Four and their post-Beatles career with Glenn, Lucy, Diamond, and Patty. And then on Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 12 noon, you have Gina, Daytime Talk with Gina Catullo. Speaks about her opinions of everything that surrounds her, from any entertainment news, fashion trends, to her favorite reality-based TV shows like Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and New Jersey and Shores of Sunset. It's kind of like my show. I kind of talk about my opinions too, and my and everything that surrounds me in the racing world. Wow, we have like similar shows. Wednesday, 8 to 9 p.m., Two Guys and a Chick Show brings you stupid news, information on current news and events, the email bag, news that doesn't suck, and the best music videos from the 80s with Chuck and Bonnie. I'll tell you what, anytime
Anytime I'm a little down in the dumps, which is very rare, very rare. I'll tune into that because these guys make me crack up. But there's a full lineup here at InRavio. Go to InRavio.com to check out our shows, and then I'll tell you, I know racing people are more than just racing people. They have other interests, so I'm sure that one of our other shows would interest you as well. But 22 figure out, yeah, in that one instance. But anyway, it's all good. It's coming up to almost the time to say goodnight. Father's Day is this weekend. Enjoy, have fun. Be sure to give your dad a call. And if your dad's no longer with us, give him a call anyway. There's ways to do that. I'm not going to get into religious beliefs here, but there's a way to still talk to your dad even if he's not with us. And children, boys and girls, make sure you call your dad. Even though if you're having Doros that you have to go work at some racetrack or race somewhere, give your dad a call. All right, email something, touch base. But take dad to a race. Take him to Star Speedway. There you go. Maybe there you go. Go to a race. Take your. You know, real quick. I know we're running out of time. And there was a Father's Day years ago. Both my kids are racing champ karts. My son Joe Jr. and my daughter Jessica. Joe was in senior champs, and Jessica was in junior sportsman champ. And my mom had this thing, you got to be there Father's Day. Well, we had a big race, and both kids are in the points. And it was a good thing for me that my sister had other plans and couldn't go, and my two brothers had other plans. So there was no Father's Day. So I said, listen, just come to the track. We're racing at Medford Raceway here in Long Island. Why don't you come? We have lunch laid out and everything. And like I said, my parents, they hated racing. It was a waste of time, energy, and gas. But anyway, they came, and they saw how good it was run, and how the families interacted with one another on that Father's Day. And and they came in the trailer. I had a nice trailer. Wow. Anyway, I had a sponsor bring a food spread out for us, and because that's my first and primary thing. You got to have a food sponsor, and because you got to eat, so you might as well have a sponsor feed you. But they had a great time, and although my son didn't do that well, he had engine problems. My daughter did okay, and I look back on that day, and that in all my years of Father's Days, that was probably the best Father's Day, one of the best Father's Days I'd ever had. The other Father's Day was my son got put to the back twice in a race. To the back of the pack late in the race, and both times worked his way up to the front, got put to the back again, and worked his way up to the front, and won the race on the last lap turn, beating Justin Bonsignor. It was an awesome, awesome race. So, two of my best Father's Days of my whole life were done and held at racetracks. So, yeah, take your dad to a race, and if he's never been to one, don't take him to a stupid race. Take him to a real race, all right? Anyway, happy Father's Days to all those fathers that were in the chat room. And I hope everybody has a great weekend. Stafford this weekend, Stafford Motor Speedway in Connecticut for the Wheeler Modified Tour. Third attempt at trying to get that race in. The third time's a charm. We're calling for good weather. But everybody have a good night, good week. Monday night will be on normal time. Thanks for spending some time with us tonight. We enjoyed it. I enjoy my time with you, no matter what's going on in the outside world. So God bless you all, and we will see and talk to you all again soon.
You're just out of place, because you just sort of drive, but I race.